Okay, next topic is cost classification and cost behavior. Cost classification and cost behavior is very important in cost accounting and management accounting, where we are analyzing that which one of the costs are associated with the different activities or functions which are called cost classification, and which one of the costs are changing with respect to activity level, or which one of the costs will remain unchanged, or which one of the costs having mixed behavior, either fixed and variable both. So we start from prime cost. Prime cost comprises, prime cost basically came from, or prime word came from primary cost. Primary cost means which are necessary to incur. Primary cost means initial or beginning cost, where we are going to incur some additional beginning cost or initial cost whenever we are going to produce a product. So prime cost includes what? Prime cost includes direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. First is direct material, second one is direct labor, and the third one is direct expenses. But it does not make difference if we change the order. Either we write direct labor first, direct material second, and direct expense at the third number, or we write direct expenses third, then we have direct material or direct labor. So this is the correct answer. All variable cost is not considered as the prime cost, because all variable cost includes direct material, it includes direct labor, it includes direct expenses. If separately we are provided with the variable production overhead, then it includes other variable production overheads. If not provided, then it includes, then direct expenses includes variable production overheads, but still we have another variable cost which is called variable selling overhead. So all variable cost includes what? Four costs: material, labor, direct expenses, and variable selling overheads. Prime costs are comprised of these three costs. And for example, D, direct labor, direct material, production overheads, this is basically production cost per unit. Then prime cost, if I say that what is the, or what are the variable costs, then I will say that all variable costs A. If question says that what is production cost per unit, then the correct answer is D. And if question says that prime cost, this one is the prime cost. Next one is a semi-variable cost. Semi-variable cost means what? A cost which includes two elements. One is called what? One is called variable cost per unit. Or we can alternatively say that variable overheads per unit. Semi-variable includes variable overheads per unit, and it also includes fixed overheads per period. So remember one thing, whenever we talk about uh, semi-variable cost, variable overheads are always measured on per unit basis, and fixed overheads are always measured on per period basis. Increases in direct product proportion to output, semi-variable cost does not increase in with the direct proportion of output. This is the definition of variable cost. Variable cost is the one which increases in the direct proportion to output, remains constant irrespective of the level of output. Again, it is not the definition of semi-variable cost, it is the definition of the fixed cost. Contains an element of both fixed and variable cost, this one is correct. Increases throughout the accounting year, throughout the year, no cost increases throughout the accounting year, only step fixed cost is the one which will rise if we are going beyond the certain time period or activity level. Similarly, variable cost will rise throughout the accounting period if there will be increase in production units. Even semi-variable will cost also rises throughout the accounting period if there will be rise in production units. Which of the following is not a fixed cost? Insurance is a fixed cost. Business rates are fixed cost. Depreciation is a fixed cost. Apart from this fixed cost, depreciation is the one which is also non-cash item. So depreciation has two characteristics. One, it is a fixed cost, and fixed cost is also called period cost. Second characteristic is it is a non-cash item. We are not paying in the form of cash. Depreciation is basically what? It is the reduction in the value of non-current asset, reduction in your mobile phone, reduction in the value of your like machinery, reduction in the value of your vehicle. So reduction in the value of these assets, non-current assets, either due to usage or due to obsolescence is called what? It is called the depreciation. Material used in production, this is the right answer. Material is basically part of what? It is part of prime cost, or it is part of variable production cost per unit, or it is part of direct cost per unit. Production overheads comprises variable overheads only. No, it is not true. Variable overheads are part of production overheads. Production overheads comprises what? It includes direct material, indirect material, it includes indirect labor, it includes indirect expenses which are related to production activity. Related to production activity but not easily traceable. That's why these costs are called indirect cost or production overheads. Indirect expenses only, this is not the correct. Indirect expenses only. If rather than expenses we say that indirect cost, it could be somehow correct, but again there is a word of only. Indirect labor and material related to production activities. So this statement is incorrect statement. This one is the correct statement completely, that indirect material, indirect labor, indirect expenses are what? They are related to the production activity, but not easily traceable. Don't forget this. Use a tick to indicate which of the following provides the correct definition of a direct cost. A cost which cannot be influenced by its budget holder. Correct definition of direct cost. A cost cannot be influenced by its budget holder. This is not the definition of direct cost, but it is the definition of uncontrollable cost. So if I change my question and I say that what is uncontrollable cost, this statement will be considered as correct statement. Expenditure which can be economically identifiable or easily traceable with a specific unit are called what? Direct cost. Cost which needs to be apportioned to a cost center. Cost which need to be apportioned, which are apportioned or divided among the cost centers. Highest proportion of the total cost of a product, it is not necessary or because it will be correct for what? It will be correct for the production department or production organizations, but for service organizations, more higher proportion of the total cost is a fixed cost rather direct cost. So the correct definition is only this one, where it is economically identifiable or easily traceable. Which of the following items would be treated as indirect cost? Now, which one are the indirect cost? Indirect cost, as we know that, are the one which are not directly related with the activity level. Or we say that, sorry, not directly related with the activity level, or we say that indirect costs are the one which are used in the production process but not easily traceable. So which of the following items would be treated as indirect cost? Wood used to make a chair, it is direct material, so it is part of the direct cost. Metal used for the legs of a chair, again it is direct material, part of direct cost per unit, prime cost per unit. Fabric to cover to the seat of the chair, again it is easily traceable, so it is direct material. Staples to fix the fabric to the seat of the chair is called what? It is called like uh, production overheads or indirect cost, because it is not easily traceable. Staple is an immaterial cost, not a significant cost, and it is part of indirect cost. Next one is the following represents which type of costs. Basically, this graph is starting from where? This graph is starting from here, not from the origin. Suppose if your graph is starting from this origin, 0. If graph is starting from here, this is called what? This is called total variable cost. Remember one thing, total variable cost is always shown by this slope. If graph says simple, this straight line, it is called total fixed cost. But here, this graph has a straight line starting from here, like where we have $100, and this $100 is constant up till 30 units. So this $100 is representing the proportion of total fixed cost. But we also have a slope which starts from $100 and heading towards or heading till $400. This slope is called total variable cost. So this is called what? This slope is called total variable cost. Sum of total variable cost and total fixed cost is called what? Semi-variable cost. And another graph we have, if it is given like this, it is called step fixed cost. Another graph is like this. Once again, the same shape, but definitely I'm not making the same total fixed cost. This time it is representing variable cost per unit, because variable cost per unit is fixed in its nature. And if we have like this, sorry, let me correct this curve. If it has a curve shape, it is called fixed cost per unit. Next one is, the following data relates to overhead expenditure of contract cleaners at two activity levels. There are two activity levels. First one is 12,750 and the second one is 15,100. So this activity level is highest and this activity level is lowest. Using the high-low method, the estimate of the overhead cost if 16,200 square meters are to be cleaned in dollar. So we will use high-low method to calculate the total overheads of 16,200 square meters. So we will follow steps of high-low method over here, which starts from variable production overheads per unit. High-low method is used to divide for overheads into two components. Here it is simply written overheads. It is not written fixed overheads or variable overheads. Overheads means what? Overhead means mixed cost. Mixed cost means mix of variable and fixed both. Mixed cost is alternatively or known as what? Mixed cost is alternatively known as like variable cost per unit and fixed cost per period. So highest activity level is 15,100, lowest activity level is 12,750. Total overheads at the highest activity level are 73,950 minus total overheads at the lowest activity level are, sorry, at the highest it is 83,585. 83,585, and here we have 73,950. So first we will calculate what? We will calculate variable overheads. 83,585 minus 73,950 divided by 15,100 minus 12,750. So it is 4.1. This one is the step number one. Variable overheads per unit are step number one. In step number two, we will calculate total variable overheads, where we will multiply this 4.1 either with the highest activity level or lowest activity level. We are going to multiply this with the highest activity level, 15,100. So multiplied by 15,100. It is 61,910. In step number three, we will calculate total fixed overheads, where fixed overheads are equal to what? Total overheads at the highest activity level, 83,585, minus total variable overheads, 61,910. So 83,585, we have 21,675 total fixed overheads. Now he says what? He says calculate the total overheads cost of 16,000. Number 4 plus dx. Y is representing total overheads 675. Variable cost per unit 4.1 multiplied by x is representing activity level for which we are calculating total overheads, and we are calculating total overheads for 16,200. So we will solve this. 4.1 into 16,200 plus 21,675. So we have what? 88,095 as the total overheads. So this is the answer, 88,095. Followed which method? Followed high-low method. Once again, in the next question, he says that the following data relates to two output levels of a department, and the question is amount of fixed overheads. This time he is not asking us to solve up till step number 4. This time question is asking us to solve up to step number 3. So up till step number 3, we will do what? We will follow the same step starting from variable overheads per machine hour. So first one is variable overheads per machine hour is equal to highest activity level here we have minus lowest activity level. So overheads of the lowest 246,500. First one is 251,750 minus what 246,500 divided by difference between 18,000 and 7,500 and 17,000. So the 3.5 is variable overheads per machine hour. 3.5 per hour. Step number 2 is total variable overheads is equal to 3.5 into this time we are going to take lowest activity level just to make sure that we can use either of the activity level. 59,500. Third one is total fixed overheads where total overheads minus total variable overheads. 187,000. So C is the right answer. Once again, we have high-low method and same way is needed to calculate the fixed element cost per period. I hope now you know that how to solve. I am just going to identify that this is highest activity level. This one is lowest activity level. So probably I hope you will be able to do this. Next is a particular cost is fixed in total for a period. Remember one thing, fixed cost is also called period cost, that this cost will remain fixed for a certain time period. So what is the effect on the cost per unit of a reduction in activity level in activity of 50%, cost per unit of a reduction in activity of 50%. Now there are four different items are given or four different changes are given. What is the effect on cost per unit of a reduction in activity of 50%, which means suppose our current activity level means how many units we are producing, how many machine hours we are working, or we can say that activity level is what activity level is we are producing number of chairs, number of tables, number of laptops, number of calculators, number of cameras. So this is activity level. We are consuming this much teaching hours to complete our course. This is activity level. Whatever activity we are producing or performing is called activity level. We will assume a data in this question. I am not going to select any answer on judgment basis, and I never recommend to students. I always says that whenever you face such type of question, you can assume any data. Suppose we says that current activity level is 10,000 units. Currently we are producing what? We are producing 10,000 units. And he says that reduction in activity of 50%. So we assume that revised activity level is 50% of 10,000, which means now we are producing 5,000. Cost per unit increased by 50%, cost per unit reduced by 50%, cost per unit increases by 100%, cost per unit will remain unchanged. Most of the students, those who will not understand this question properly, or they will not make any data, they will immediately pick this option B, that the activity is falling by 50% and our cost will also fall by 50%. In fact, here he says that a particular cost is fixed. So we have what? We have fixed cost of like what? Suppose 50,000. Fixed cost is the one which does not vary with the level of activity. So currently we are paying current fixed cost per unit. Current fixed cost per unit is equal to $50,000 divided by current activity level 5,000, 10,000. So we have 5 per unit. Now what will be the revised fixed cost per unit? Is equal to 50,000 divided by 5,000 revised. So now we have $10 per unit. So fixed cost per unit has increased from $5 to $10. So there is increase in cost by 100%. So if we calculate increase in fixed cost per unit is equal to 10 minus 5 divided by current. So rise in cost by what? Rise in, to convert into percentage, we will multiply with the 100. So cost is rising by what? It is rising by 100%. So C is the right answer. This is the way to deal with such type of questions. Next one is representing what? It is representing the fixed cost per unit. What are the conversion costs? Conversion costs are basically the one which we use to convert our like direct material into what? Into finished goods. We are going to incur the cost of like labor and production overheads. So this one is the right answer. Production cost excluding the direct material is called what? Conversion cost. Conversion cost includes direct labor plus production overheads. Converting raw material into finished goods is called what? Conversion cost. Then we have total production cost and output over the period. The estimated variable production cost, estimated production cost if the high-low method is used. Okay. So what is variable production cost per unit? Only the step number 1 is needed. Variable production cost per unit. First of all, identify the highest activity level. This one is the highest activity level. So 14,870. Overheads of the highest activity level 254, 554 minus lowest activity level 12,610 minus 230, 485, 254, 554 minus 230, 485 divided by 14,870 minus 12,610. 10.65. So the 10.65 is what? It is the variable production cost per unit. Only step number 1 is needed. A particular cost is classified as being a semi-variable. If activity level increases by 10%, what will happen to the cost per unit? Once again, we are not going to make any judgment. We are going to make a data, current data. We say that current activity level is 10,000 units. And we say current variable cost per unit is $10. We assume current fixed cost is equal to 40,000. So we will calculate the total cost current Y is equal to A 40,000 plus variable cost 10 into current activity level 10,000. So $40,000 plus $100,000 is equal to $140,000 divided by what? If we convert into per unit divided by 10,000 units, we have 14. This is the current cost per unit. Now we have revised activity level 10,000 into what it is rising by 10%, 110, 11,000. So the revised total cost or overheads is equal to 40,000 plus 10 multiplied by 11,000. So what will be the cost now? 10 multiplied by 11,000 plus 40,000. So the total cost is now 150,000. And if we convert it on per unit basis, so divided by 11,000, 13.6363 per unit. So it is decreasing. It is decreasing. First A is increases, it is incorrect. Remains constant, it is also incorrect. Reduces but not in proportion to the change in activity, reduces in proportion to the change in activity. So we can solve. Current is 14 minus revised 13.6363 divided by current into 100. We can calculate the percentage that it is reducing by how much percent? It is reducing by 2.5%, or we can say that 2.59 or 2.6%. So activity level is rising by 10% and total fixed cost per unit is falling by 2.6. So it is reducing. This one is the right answer. B, it is reducing, but not in the proportion to the change in activity, but not in the same proportion or similar proportion with the change in activity. Activity is rising by 10% and it is reducing by 2.6%. Next one is Marlowe manufactures one product, jeans. As management accountant at Marlowe, you have been determined the following information. The direct material up till 60. Profit is one third of the total cost. What is the selling price? He's saying that profit is one third of the total cost. One third means 33%. And he's saying total cost. So total cost is 60. We will calculate profit is equal to 60 multiplied by 1 by 3. So we have what? 20. Final selling price is equal to 60 plus 20 is equal to $80. So this is the right answer. What is the variable cost? This time he is not saying variable production cost. This one is variable cost, this one is variable, this one is variable, variable production overheads and variable non-manufacturing. So 10 plus 29 plus 3 plus 7 plus 2. So 10 plus 29 plus 3 plus 7 plus 2. So we have, do we have 51? Yes, we have 51. 51 is the variable cost per unit. Next one is what is prime cost? Prime costs are these three costs: direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. So 10, 29 and 3. 42. This is the right answer. Once again, we have high-low method. And what is the variable cost per unit? Only step number 1 is needed. Variable cost per unit is equal to highest activity level is 110,000 and its overheads are 218, 200. Lowest activity level are 100,000 and its total cost is 207,000. So 218,000 minus 207,000 divided by 10,000. 218,200 minus 207,000 divided by 10,000. This it is 1.12. So 1.12 is the right answer. Which of the description best suits the graph? Okay, this graph is showing what? This graph is showing that cost per unit is falling as long as there is increase in number of units. So number of units has increased where number of units has increased up to a certain level or certain limit. First one is saying that learning curve effect. Learning curve is not showing in this way. Learning curve basically means what? Learning curve means we are in learning or we are improving or we will take less time to produce a unit whenever there will be uh, our specialty level improvement or whenever we have enough specialty level where learning curve has improved. Our time being worked, our time will increase our total cost, availability of discount for the material. It shows that the availability of discount for the material. That discount is available, that's why our total cost is doing what? Our total cost of material is falling. Actual overheads being more than expected. If it is being more than expected, then it must not fall, it must rise. Cost per unit is consistently falling. Suppose here it was $10 per unit. Now it has reduced to suppose 9. Now it has reduced suppose to $8 per unit. So it is reducing because of what? Cost per unit will reduce or can reduce due to the effect of learning curve, but this is not the graph of the learning curve. Otherwise, this statement could be correct if we have the correct graph. But due to overtime working, cost per unit will not fall, it will rise. If actual overheads are more than the expectations, it will rise. So this graph is more relevant to what? More relevant to the discount available for material. A company is carried out production in accordance with the specific requirement of each one of the customers. Whenever you are fulfilling the requirement of the customer, it is called job costing. Batch costing is relevant when we have the continuous production process. Process costing is relevant when we are producing goods in processes in one or more than one processes. And service costing is what? Service costing is used by the service organizations which are providing services rather than producing goods. Next one is total cost incurred by a business may be expressed as y is equal to a plus bx. I have already told you that what is y is equal to a plus bx. Y stands for what? Y stands for total overheads. And then we have what? We have like A, which is representing the total fixed cost, B is representing variable cost per unit, and X is representing number of units. A company has a variable cost of $12.2 per unit and total cost of for output 7,400 in a period of 156,980. Using the formula above information, what are the total fixed cost in the period? So this time you are provided with the information of 156,980. It is equal to what? It is equal to the proportional fixed cost. So fixed cost is X or A, which needs to be determined, plus variable cost per unit, which is 12.2, multiplied by what? Multiplied by 7,400. So 12.2 into 7,400. 156, 980 is equal to A plus 90,280. A is equal to 156, 980 minus 90,280. 66,700. Okay, the next question is, company currently produces 6,000 units of a single product each period, incurring total variable cost of 60,000 and fixed cost of 42,000. Production will increase to 8,000 units per period if the company expands capacity, resulting in changes both to variable cost per unit and to the total fixed cost. For production of 8,000 units per period, total variable cost would be $76,000 and fixed cost will be 50,000. What is the reduction in total cost per unit comparing the cost of for 8,000 units per period with the unit cost currently being incurred? So we have what? Currently we have 6,000 units, current activity level 6,000. Total cost, variable cost is 60,000, 102,000. Cost per unit 102,000 divided by 6,000. 17 dollar per unit. Further, he is saying that activity level has increased. Revised activity level is 8,000. Total cost is equal to 76,000 plus 50,000. 126,000. So revised cost per unit 126,000 divided by 8,000. 15.75. So current is 17 and revised is 15.75. So reduction in cost per unit is equal to 17 minus 15.75. 1.25. C is the right answer. Then he says the following is an extract from the list of accounts from a washing manufacturer where which of the following are coded correctly. So wages of operative who work on the product. Operative means what? Operative means direct workers, and direct workers are the one who are directly related with the activity level. So direct labor falls in between 2,000 to 2,999, and here he is giving the code of 4160. So that's why it is incorrect. Wages of production department supervisor. Department supervisor is part of production overheads. So its code must fall in between 4,000 to 4,999. So once again, it is incorrect. Cleaning material is basically indirect cost or indirect material. So it must fall under production overheads of 4,000 to 4,999. And royalties are the direct expenses which must fall in between 3,000 to 3,999, and it is 3,020. So D is the correct option. Next one is machine parts are assembled in a factory. One of the components used in assembling machine part is component X. Which of the following is an example of a unit cost in the factory? So we are doing what? We are manufacturing, and manufacturing what? We are manufacturing the machine which has a component 6. A unit of component 6, a unit of machine part. This is basically the whole machine. So out of the whole machine, there is only one unit which is called unit of machine part MP7. So B is the right answer. Place a tick in the column indicate two of the following cost classifications can be applied to straight line depreciation of office equipment. Straight line depreciation to the office equipment. Office equipment is basically not the one which is used for production purposes. So it cannot be part of production overheads. It is a depreciation cost which is fixed cost or non-cash item, so can never be the part of variable. If we are calculating the depreciation of a machinery, it could be part of the production overheads. But right now, depreciation is a period cost and it is part of indirect cost. Next one is the cost incurred in the manufacture of 1000 units of a product are, this is the cost. If output is increases by 25%, what will be the effect, if any, on the total cost per unit? Okay, we have this much cost, which is 20,000 total cost, currently producing 1000 units. So we have $20 per unit. Now he's saying that output is revising. So revised activity level 1000 into 125%, which means 1250. Now we will calculate the revised total cost. Three of the costs are what? These are variable costs, 4, 6, and 2000. So 12,000 are the variable cost which varies with the level of activity. Current activity level is 1000. So the variable cost per unit is $12. Now we will follow the formula. Fixed cost is 8,000 plus variable cost per unit is 12 into activity level is 1250. 23,000. Previously it was 20,000. Now 23,000 is divided by 1250. 18.4. So reduction in cost from 20 to 18.4, 1.60 is the right answer. Place a take to the column, indicate which two of the following that may be part of cost accounts but not part of the financial accounts. So which one of the costs are part of the cost account, expenses are part of cost account, not the financial account? Cash discount available to customers. If the interest charged to product based on average inventory, this is the part of cost accounting. It means what? It means opportunity cost. We will study in this. If you are buying inventory of $1,000, so it means you are going to miss your opportunity to earn from interest from the bank. Now you are going to lose this opportunity, and you will do what? You will earn profit from the inventory. So your loss of interest is what? Your loss of interest is opportunity cost. Personal rent notional is called hypothetical cost. Hypothetical means you own your building, for example, your business premises, but still you are deducting rental. Similarly, if you own your own home and you are still deducting rent, so it is the notional cost. Notional cost is also shown in cost accounts, not the financial accounts. Rest of the two are shown in financial accounts. Next, we have what? A particular cost is classified as semi-variable. How will average cost per unit of the activity will be affected by 20% reduction in the level of activity? So there are four changes. First, he's saying that semi-variable cost. It means we say that current activity level is 10,000. Current variable cost per unit is $10. Again, assuming data. Current fixed cost is $50,000. Now he's saying that we are going to reduce our activity level by 20%. So revised activity level is 10,000 into 80%, 8,000. Decrease, now he's saying that these will be the changes in the average cost. First, we will calculate current average cost. Y is equal to fixed 50,000 plus variable cost is 10 into 10,000. So 150,000 in total divided by current activity level of 10,000. We have like 15. Now there is reduction in activity level, but fixed cost will remain the same because it is a period of fixed cost. Variable cost is 10 per unit, but units are 8,000. So we have 10 into 8,000 plus 50,000, 130,000 divided by 8,000. It is 16.25 minus 15 divided by current into 100. Cost is decreasing by 8.33%. Decrease by less than 20%, this A is the right answer. Decrease by more than 20%, no, because it is reducing by 8.33%. So A is the right answer.